Hi everyone, it's Tuesday and it's Tell All Tuesday, and I'm over the moon excited to have Dr. Karen Kelly here with me. And Dr. Kelly is the president of Through the Heart. So today our topic is really talking about pregnancy loss, miscarriage. And for me personally, I feel like that is a topic that isn't really covered. And this month, October, is National Pregnancy, Miscarriage Month, Loss Month. So Dr. Kelly, I'm so excited to have you with us. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm just going to read your bio quickly so everybody knows about Dr. Kelly, and then we're just going to, talk about your organization and some strategies. So Dr. Karen Kelly is the president of Through the Heart, and she is a New Jersey native who loves sports, music, traveling, and baking, and her 2 cats. She has more than a decade of diverse experience in higher education, administration, and classroom instruction with expertise in communication and marketing. She currently manages the day-to-day operations of the organization in addition to leading the board of directors. And you can reach Dr. Karen Kelly, and I'll have that contact information underneath this video, at kkelly@throughtheheart.org. So thank you so much, Karen, for being with us. So I was hoping that maybe you could share a little bit of how you started your organization and, a little bit about the comfort kits too. So why don't we just start by telling everybody how you got started?
Sure. Well, my husband and I experienced our first loss in February of 2013. We lost our daughter at 20 weeks into the pregnancy. It was our first pregnancy. And at the time, we didn't know anybody who had gone through a situation similar to ours. And we felt very alone. We felt like we didn't have any resources. We looked for some local support. We were living in South Texas at the time. We looked for some local support and didn't find anything that really met our needs. And we just did and felt like we needed somewhere to turn to. And so we realized if we felt that way, there had to be a lot of other people out there that felt the same way. People that lived in areas that didn't have support groups, that didn't have programs through their hospitals, people like us. And so we decided that no one felt the same way that we did. So we decided to start Through the Heart. And it's been about 3.5 years now since we started the organization, and the number of people that we've been able to reach has been phenomenal. Like I said, we are a national organization. We reach out to people, and a lot of them are people like us that, like I said, they live in different areas where there just are not resources. And that's something that comes up time and time again as something that is lacking. So we really strive to be that resource for people no matter where they are, because we know that the local meetings and things like that are very few and far between. We get a lot of questions about, do you know of a support group in my area? And unfortunately, most of the time the answer is no, we don't. And so that's, it's something that, and we want to be that place people can go to. And that's why we have so much of our programs and our information right on our website so that we can be accessed from anywhere. So as you mentioned, our Comfort Kit program is our big program. It's been around for just about 3 years now. November will be 3 years for us. And what the kits are is it's just a little something to kind of say, hey, someone's thinking of you. We know what you're going through. We know how difficult a time this is. And here's a little something for you to kind of provide a distraction. We know that there's nothing that can take away the pain that people are going through when they suffer a loss, but we would just want them to know that they're not alone. So the kits come with a number of items in them. Of course, there's information about our organization and some additional resources. And of course, we always direct people again to our website, throughtheheart.org. But there's also some items to pamper yourself. So fuzzy socks, hand lotion, those things that kind of make you feel feel good at a time where you're not really feeling so great. Some candy and some snacks. And then we also have a Redbox movie code, which is something that's really great for a couple to do together. And of course, one of the things that we always stress too is that, the couple is going through the loss. It's not just the woman, because she's the one that was carrying the child. We do want to stress that, it's for a couple. So while the kit is probably geared a little bit more toward the woman, we try to include those items that the couple can use together. And so at this point in time, we have sent out over 1,100 comfort kits, free of charge.
God bless you. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. And they have gone all over the country. We have reached 49 states and the District of Columbia. So we're thrilled at the reach that the program has had, and we're just so thankful that we're able to make that kind of impact on so many people all across the country.
Well, I just want to say thank you, my goodness, because what I love about people who are in the fertility area is that it is mostly people who have been touched in a profound way that is heart-wrenching. And then, I wrote Girlfriend to Girlfriend, a fertility companion way back when. My son's turning 18 and I had my first pregnancy loss before him. So we're talking almost 20 something years ago. And it was the same feeling, the same sense of nobody else should ever feel this way. And I'm so grateful for you to acknowledge that this is a couple loss, because personally what happened to me was my best friend, she was a little bit before me, she was married and they were trying to have a child, and she had a pregnancy loss, and it was devastating. And so I showed up with all those comfort items that you talk about, and I remember bringing her a mug and bringing her socks and bringing her a new blanket and going to make her tea. And her husband, who I was very good friends with, came in the kitchen and said to me, why I was hurrying to take care of her, because physically she wasn't in good shape. He said to me, I lost a baby too, and nobody has asked me how I am. And right then and there, I thought, oh my gosh, I am such not a good friend to you. I'm so sorry. And so from that moment on, we share the soapbox that this affects the couple. Men and women cope emotionally totally differently, but just because they're silent doesn't mean that they're not in pain or hurting. So the red box and the comfort items and the treats are just so perfect for both people, regardless of what the couple is, because that's a life-altering event that happens, a loss. It's life-altering. And so thank you so much for mentioning that.
Well, thank you for, again, bringing up that it is also about, the man in the relationship, because like I said, so many people think, oh, men, they're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be the ones that are there to support the woman. And, I said, people that go through this know that, I said, you go through it together. And, yes. Some couples are lucky that it's something that strengthens their relationship, but for many, it's something that can relationship. And so it is really important to recognize that, you said, both people are going through this together.
Well, for me, within my practice, my coaching practice, and also for me personally, it was invisible. After the loss, I did have medical issues after. I had really complications after the ectopic pregnancy. But you know what? I was up and dressed and back at work, and from the outside looking in, I looked perfectly fine. But on the inside, your name of your organization through the heart, my heart was shattered. And so it's so challenging, because for me personally, and what I've experienced for my clients, is that you withdraw. You withdraw from your friends, you withdraw from your husband or your partner, you just withdraw from the whole world, because it's so devastating. And so what I feel, what you're doing on October 15th and what we're doing this whole month about talking about it, is that it's so critical to find that support that you need in the way that you need it to nurture yourself, and in a way process the feelings around this. And what I also have found too, and I'm questioning you, that this is sometimes a miscarriage or infertility is the first marital crisis or partnership crisis that people are facing. And you're not equipped to deal with that unless you engage in a group or reach out to have support so that you can find insights and tips.
Absolutely. We have a lot of people that come to us and say, I want to help my wife or I want to help my husband through this, and I don't know how, because like you said, people process things differently. And that's one of the biggest questions we get is just, well, is this normal? How do I grieve? How do I move on? How do I, what do I do? And there is really no answer, because I said, even within a couple, you may not be on the same page. And so that's why we try to offer a lot of resources through our organization that are kind of tug on different heartstrings. Some people like those solitary activities. They like reflective writing. They like art projects. We have our Healing Through Art project that we offer. And then some people want to talk about it. They want to be more social. And so we offer an outlet to share your story on our website. And those are stories that are, but especially this month we're going through and we're sharing some more of them again on social media, again to bring that conversation up and let people's voices be heard. And we use our Facebook and our Twitter accounts to try to tell those stories and to try to connect with people and let others just know that they're not alone, and however they are grieving, however they are processing, and however they are moving on, and whenever they're moving on, that it's okay and it's absolutely normal, because there is normal and abnormal. Any way you choose to do it is normal.
Well, what is so it's such a chemical soup, because as a woman, your body is going through the changes, hormonally, and then emotionally, there's a physical, emotional, spiritual trauma happening. And I love that you provide all those services. And one of the tips that I really strongly encourage is that when you physically write, you actually connect both hemispheres of your brain. So you have that emotional part that might be stuck in the trauma, the trauma loop, and then you have the rational part. So one of the strategies that I really try to encourage couples or women is to write in a journal. And so it's a bridge, between your both hemispheres of your brain, but it's also a bridge to your partner. So if you don't have the strength, or you don't have, the capacity to sit face to face, especially for men, it's very beneficial for men to either be walking or, just watching TV or something, so they're not sitting face to face having to have a conversation. That journaling back and forth to each other, grab a regular notebook or a fancy notebook, and then journal back and forth to each other in a non-direct, non-confrontational manner that is so powerful and healing on so many levels. So I know that you encourage, the writing, but also the communication journal back and forth is so helpful.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Like I said, we do encourage the reflective writing. We have a couple of prompts on our website, but then every Tuesday we send out a 2 Things Tuesday email, and occasionally we have those emails. So we do encourage people to make sure they're on our email list and they can get those updates. And what's great about reflective writing, in my opinion, is that you can do it whenever you have the time to really sit down. And like I said, it's something that you can just down and get all your thoughts out and take your time. And I think that that's what's really nice about it too. It's not I have to do this right now. There's a time limit on it or anything like that, and it's just a really nice activity. And I think that's a great idea about going back and forth with your partner.
Because it could be you just leave it, and there's no stress about answering or not. You just write it to each other, and if you don't feel like writing back, then that's okay. You give each other permission. The other thing for me was that the emotional feelings of it would come in such waves. Like I would think I was perfectly fine out in the world, and then I would get hit with this wave of grief and then judge myself for the wave of grief. So it wasn't such unconditioned compassion for myself. It was why I should be feeling this way. I should have been moving on about this. But I have to say, so my son just turned 18, and the baby that I lost would have been turning 20. And so I find myself around that baby's birthday, and around, especially around when I lost him, feeling off. And sometimes I don't even know why I'm feeling off until I look. I'm like, what is it? What's going on? And I'm like, oh. So I think why I wanted to bring that up is because there is always that connection with that soul. And for me, at first, I would be thrown off about that, feeling that I should be better at this. After all, it's almost 20 years later. What is the problem? But what I say to myself is, I'll always be that baby's mama, and I didn't get to hold that baby, but I'm always that baby's mama. And I feel like that's a little gift for me. And so what I do when I find myself self-judging for feeling the way that you are, I just find myself saying, well, that's interesting that I'm feeling that, instead of saying all those terrible, thoughtful thoughts that I don't know if you ever experienced. But I'm like, I try to get curious about why I'm feeling that way, instead of judgmental about why I'm feeling that way. And I think going back to the journaling and going back to the writing, if you come from a place of being curious about yourself so that you can learn about you and move forward with grace, because you are such a strong woman, as an example of taking this heartbreaking moment and look at how the ripple of your love is, paying forward to all these other people. And I think, if we could all, have a curiosity. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to go out and do what you and I do and be spokespeople, but just being curious about why you're feeling that way, and acknowledge it and let it be. Because the more we stuff that down, the bigger it gets. At least, for me personally, and for my, my clients. So that's a little bit of my soapbox too.
No, and I definitely think that there is, a level of vulnerability in all of this. Like you said, sometimes you're hit with these emotions when you don't even expect it, and to sometimes deal with that. And, it's hard for other people sometimes to understand. I know, one of the things, and going back to say, you go back to work right afterwards and things like that. And I remember one of the most hurtful things for me was going back and people just acting like nothing had happened.
Right.
And as I said, this is a life-changing event. It's not something, that you just get over. And sometimes people don't understand that. And I think that causes you to think, well, should I be getting over it? Is this something? And I think that too many people then question themselves about it. And like I said, it goes back to the whole, healing on your own time frame kind of idea, because there are going to be people that don't understand, and that's why we do what we do too, especially at Through the Heart. My background's education. So when I started the organization, I really wanted there to be an education component to the organization. And we've been focusing on the support more because our Comfort Kit program has taken off so much. But we also do try to educate. We have educational postcards that we distribute, and we're working on getting those in hospitals and doctors' offices. And we also have people that just hand them out to their friends and their family and to their people that they know, to try to say, hey, here's some information about through a loss, things of what you might want to say. And so we're also working on developing, more thorough educational pamphlets that, again, can be given to you when they have the loss, because there really is a lack of that. I've had 2 losses. I experienced them I lived in different areas of the country, so I went through 2 different hospitals when it happened. But in both situations, I left without any kind of information. I wasn't given any information on, and what to expect moving forward. And that's a problem. So that's why we're really trying to work on partnerships and making sure that people leave and they have a place to go. You know, they may not want to go and look up the information immediately, but everybody should walk away from this experience knowing is to be able to have that starting point. So that's something that we're really trying to focus on.
Well, thank you for doing that, because it is a gap. It's a gap for women. And even when you go back to your follow-up appointment at your OBGYN, you know, you know, we've come so far with the stigma around, you know, loss and miscarriages, but there's still just maybe an arm's length to it. So that's why I so admire the educational component, so that people know. And we have, I would love to have you, it's kind of a sidebar, but we have Making Dad Summit, and we are, you know, we're going to do a program about loss in men, because there really isn't, you know, a lot of support out there for men experiencing loss. And so thank you so much for doing that. I think in closing, what is so profound about this October is that it's Emotional Wellness Month also. And I think they just go so hand in hand. And, you know, maybe the last comment that I would make is this really gentle kindness, loving kindness towards yourself. And you know, no matter what you're feeling, it's okay. And you're doing exactly what you need to be doing at the exact moment, and not second guessing yourself. So that's my 2 cents. But I would love for you to share about what's coming up in October 15th and how that is such solidarity. And I think that was a great idea.
So October 15th is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day, and as part of that, there is the Wave of Light. And so the Wave of Light is an international event where people light a candle at 7:00 p.m. in your local time zone, and you light the candle in remembrance of all the babies that are gone too soon. Most of the time, people do it in memory and in honor of a specific child or children, but it also can be done, you know, just for all of them in general. And you leave the candle burning for 1 hour. So what happens is that all across the globe, there is a continuous wave of light for 24 hours while people are lighting the candles at 7:00. So it's one of my favorite events of the entire year. On our social media, we always share the photos of the candles, and especially on Twitter, we have them going all day long. It's great to be able to see what people are doing all over the world, and makes you realize that, yeah, you are a part of something a lot bigger. And so it's really special to be able to see all of those photos. And of course, you know, my husband and I always light our candle as well. This will be our 4th year participating in the Wave of Light. So it's a really special event. And I think that it's something that, as far as, you know, your own healing and coping, and no matter how many years it's been, whether, you know, something you had a loss a week ago or, like I said, 20 years ago, there's so many people that get involved with this, and it's such a great event, and just it's so beautiful to see. So definitely encourage everybody to become a part of that and to join us. We'd love to be able to see all of your candles.
Well, I am so touched by that. But it goes back to your name, because it's just such confirmation that we're all so connected. You know, we're all connected through the heart, and it's that love energy that's going to heal, you know, this crisis and this pain. So I so admire what you're doing, and I'm so grateful that you were part of this this Tell All Tuesday, and I will of course share about the 15th, but on the 13th, I'm hoping that you'll be there also. We're having a Twitter chat about at noon on the 13th for loss support, and of course I'll remind everybody about the 15th, about the Wave of Light. But thank you so much. And can you just tell everybody I know we'll have your website underneath your name, but if there's a direct way they can contact you, that would be perfect too.
Sure. Our email address is info, so it's info @throughtheheart.org. And that is a great way to reach us. You know, just if you are, looking for any kind of information, anything like that, that is a great way to reach us. We also, if you want to give us a call, it's 202-549-8720. But we always say, our website is our best resource, and contacting us through email is going to get the quickest response. So those are the best ways to reach us.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Karen Kelly. I so appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for what you're doing in your organization. So thank you so, so much.
Oh, thank you. This is really nice to be able to share our message and to be able to talk with you, and hopefully bring some healing to people out there.
So thank you. So stay in touch, everybody. The information will be underneath the video once we finish, and you can just Google Through the Heart also and find Dr. Karen Kelly. So thank you so much.